Welcome back to Library Dress YouTube channel. Today's class will be learning how to make this beautiful cape dress. Okay, it's a very simple DIY and it's really cute. It's beginner friendly and very easy to make. If this is what you would like to learn, kindly stay tuned to the end of this tutorial. Thank you. To make this dress, I folded my fabric in a bias form, so I'm using a 3 layers of fabric. Okay, depending on the size that you're working with, and I'm making a short dress. So if yours is going to be longer, you need to increase the length. And the fabric I'm working with is a chiffon fabric, so it's by 60. So now I'm just going to explain to us how I folded it using my paper. So this is the yardage now. Let's assume this is 3 yards. So I can cut this front and back together. I first of all fold it into 2 like this. So after folding it into 2, I'm going to fold it in a triangular form, like I'm folding a bias. I hope you understand that. Okay, so this is folded into 2. Then after folding into 2, I'm going to fold it in a bias form like this. Okay, so when I'm folding it, you can see that I'm not folding it up to the end point. I'm leaving like 1 inch allowance. Okay, because I'm still going to join this is the back part and it is open, and this is what we have on our main fabric. You can see that the back part is open and I left some allowances before I place my front. So this is the front and this is the back. So we have 2 pieces for the back and we also have 2 pieces for the front, but the only difference is that for the front it is joined at the center front while the center back is a bit open. So this is what I folded. Now we're going to continue with our measurement. So this has a lot of print on it, so the chalk may not be so obvious. So anything that I do on this fabric, I'm going to be replicating it on the paper so that we can see it well. So now the first thing I need to do now is to check my shoulder measurement. So your shoulder measurement divided by 2, you find where that is on your fabric, where you can get that measurement. The shoulder I'm working with is 14 inches, divided by 2 is 7 inches. So I'm going to be adding like 2 or 3 inches allowance because of the curve that I'm going to be creating. So now if I add 3 inches to 7, it's going to give me 10 inches. So here now, remember it's folded in a triangular form like this. So I'm going to look for a place where I can get 10 inches. You can see the way I'm looking for it. And here now I have my 10 inches. So I'll take my chalk now and make it into a straight line. Okay, so now I've ruled it. This is my 10 inches here. So on that 10 inches point, that's going to be my starting point, which is also my shoulder line mark. So from there now, I'm going to take my armhole measurement. The armhole I'm working with is 16 inches. Divided by 2 is going to give me 8 inches. So from the starting point now, I'm going to take 8 inches, which is here. Okay. So I'm taking my 8 inches measurement now, and then I'm going to make it into a straight line also. I hope you can see this, but if you don't see it, I'm going to draft it on the paper again. Okay, so this is my starting point. This is my chest line. Okay, it's not so visible, so let me just explain this using this pattern. So I have my pattern like this. Like I said, the first measurement you take is your shoulder measurement divided by 2, which in this case is 14 divided by 2, which gave me 17 inches. So 17, which gave me 7 inches, sorry. So I said you had 2 or 3 inches because of the curve you're going to create. You understand that later. So let's assume this is our 10 inches here, and then I'm going to make that into a straight line. Okay. So after getting that 10 inches mark, from there, that's your starting point, and it also doubles as my shoulder line. So from there now, you're going to take your armhole measurement, which in this case is 16 inches. Divided by 2 is going to give me 8 inches. So let's say this is my 8 inches. Remember, this is a miniature. So I'll take the same measurements here also, and then I'm going to make it into a straight line. Okay, so this is my shoulder measurement plus 3 inches allowance. That's 7 plus 3, 10 inches. And this is my, from here to here is my armhole measurement. So on that armhole measurement, you're going to be taking your round shoulder measurement. Okay, I'm going to put the picture of a round shoulder measurement there. So you take your round, that's the measurement from your shoulder all the way to your, from one shoulder to the other, passing through your chest line. So the round shoulder measurements I'm working with here is 48 inches. So the 48 inches, I'm going to divide it by 4, and that's going to give me 12 inches. Okay, so I'm going to measure the 12 inches, but for ease I'm going to add 3 inches allowance to it. You can add 3, you can add 4. So 12 inches plus 3 inches is going to give me 15 inches. So I'm going to be measuring my 15 inches, so which I'm going to assume is here. Okay, so this is my actual shoulder measurement, which is 7. This is the allowance that I put there. So you see the reason why I put that allowance there now. So now to make this cuff to look like a cape, just like what we are seeing on our thumbnail, you're going to be cuffing it like this. You can use your free hand, or you use a cuff. Okay, so you can see I'm just curving it so that I can have something, this curve, something that's going to resemble a cape. So once you're okay with what you have there, you're going to stop. So here I'm going to take my neckline measurement. So for me, I'm not going to be using the zipper for this, so I want my neckline to be really wide. I'll be making it 5 inches by 4 inches for the front and 5 inches by 1.5 inches for the back. So let me just assume this is 5 by 4 for the front, and then for the back is going to be 5 inches by 1.5 inches. Okay, so this is my back neckline and this is my front neckline. So now if you look at the picture very well, you will notice that the arm, the round arm, where the arm come out from, is on the front bodies alone. So now where you want your arm to, where your arm is going to come, is going to be around here. So you take the measurements that you have there round loosely a bit. So there I have around 12 inches. You can see the way I'm taking the measurements. Okay, so now the 12 inches, you're going to divide it by 2, and when you divide that by 2, you're going to have 6 inches. So I'm going to assume that this is my 6 inches, and then I'm going to make that into a straight line. Okay, so to create my sleeve opening, I'm going to get the midpoint of this measurement. Then after getting the midpoint, I'll measure ½ inch here, ½ inch here. So now the next thing is for me to connect from this point here to the ½ inch here, or to the hem of the sleeve opening. So like this, and then on the other side also I'll connect from here to the ½ inch all the way to the hem of the sleeve opening. So this is where my arm is going to come in from, and it's just on the front bodies. So like I said, there are so many cape design that you see them both die to is going to be on the edge here. This means that both your front and the back is going to have the sleeve opening, but for this design that we are doing, the sleeve opening is just on the front part, so you can see. So let me just hold this a bit so that we can see it. So I'm doing this on the paper because you may not see what I'm doing very well on the fabric. Okay, so now I have my sleeve opening now. So the next thing now is for me to connect it from here, to connect my dress. Okay, it depends on how big you want your dress to be. You can maintain the length that you have here, or you can just connect from here all the way to your hemline. So how do you know your hemline? So the hemline is going to be the length of your dress. So from your shoulder point, which is also your starting point here, you measure your hemline. So for me, the hemline I'm working with is 40 inches. So I'm going to assume that my 40 inches stops here. So you just measure your 40 inches here. But because this is a circle, for it to be uniform, you're going to be starting from your apex. So I've marked where my 40 inches here is. So I'm going to mark what I have here. So whatever it is that you have, remember when I marked from my shoulder point, I have around 17 inches. So now marking from the starting point, I have 22 inches. So I'm going to mark 22 inches all the way from my apex. So I'm marking from the apex so that I can get something rounded, something uniform. So I'm just going to be marking the 22 inches round now, and then I'm going to connect it, and that is going to be the length of my dress. I hope you understand what I'm talking about. So now that I have this now, I can easily cut this out. So this is the hem of my dress, and this is the side. Okay, so this is the side of my dress, and then I'm going to cut out this shape that I have here. Okay, so before I cut this out, sorry, we're supposed to create our shoulder slant. Okay, so remember, this is where our neckline stops, this is where our shoulder stops. So our shoulder slant is supposed to be here. Sorry, I'm rushing, that was why I forgot this. So you create your shoulder slant, then the curve that we created here is going to start from our shoulder slant so that it can curve really well. Okay, so just continue it from your shoulder slant. We don't want it standing like that, because if you check the shoulder is not straight. So now we're going to cut the back neckline first before we cut out the front neckline. Remember, the front neckline is deeper than the back neckline, so you can see the shape that we have here. So now to cut out the armhole, remember the first two is the front and the armhole is on the front part alone. So you're just going to bring it up, open it at the midpoint here, and then take your scissors and then cut it around that shape that you have. Duplicated this on my fabric. I don't know if I can see it. This is my back neckline, this is my front neckline, this is my shoulder slope, and from there now I extended it to my I curved it to where my armhole line stops, which is here. Then this is my sleeve opening, and then this is my length. So now I'm going to cut it out so that you can see it better. Okay, so now I've cut it out and you can see the shape that we have, just identical to what we have on our paper. So this is the sleeve opening, these are the two back pieces, and this is the front piece. Okay, so we have it like this. Now the next thing is to sew. So to sew it, the first thing I'm going to do now is to join the back together. So assuming you want to put a zipper to this, you're going to be putting it on the allowance that we have here. So after joining the back together, if you want to turn this with a bias, you just need to join it. But if you are turning it with a facing, you first of all cut your facing and turn it out before you sew. So now after sewing the allowance together, now the next thing is for me to place the front and back on each other, right side facing right side like this, and then from the neckline all the way to the curve area you are going to sew. So when you are cutting this place, when you've drafted this like this, when you are cutting it just like I have it on my fabric, you can see that I did not cut directly on the chalk line. You leave ½ inch for your seam allowance all the way around when you are cutting. So the same thing you do when you are cutting it, you leave ½ inch allowance all around. So you are going to be sewing it from the hem line here all the way to the neck point with the ½ inch allowance that you left on both sides, and then you pipe your sleeve opening with a bias. So now I'm going to go over to the machine to do that now, so that you can see what this looks like. Okay, so the back has been joined together. Now you can see it where the opening is. We've joined it at the back, and then I went ahead to sew it from the neck point all the way to the hem line, as we can see on both sides. So this is what it is looking like on the front. And like I said, the front carries the sleeve opening, so you can see our sleeve opening here. So the sleeve opening depends on the shape that you want it to be. If you want it close to the edge, that's the side seam, it's okay, like I have it here. You can also draft it in such a way that it just extend a bit to the inner part like this. Then you measure your ½ inch and then connect it like that. So now I'll take this to the mannequin so that we will see what this is looking like. Okay, so this is what the cape dress is looking like. You can see the neckline is wide enough to allow the passage of the head, and this is the sleeve opening. Okay, so like I said, it's just in the front, it does not extend to the back, and it's really lovely and simple to make. You can see the full view of the cape dress. See how lovely this is looking. So you can either make this a short dress like I did, or you just make it a full length cape dress. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. So this is the other sleeve on this side, and you can see how lovely it is also looking. So you just need to pipe it on the neckline and your sleeve opening, and then hem it, and your dress is ready. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you enjoyed this, let us know in the comment section. Like, comment and subscribe to our channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.